Sorry, my previous stream was interrupted by network, but I've come back again to continue with this bearing. So, and as I was saying before, I've talked about the meaning of bearing, the types of bearing we have. So today we shall go into basically how to change one one type of bearing to the other. We have the three-figure bearing and the compass bearing, and these two types of bearing are interconvertible. You can convert compass bearing to three-figure bearing, and you can convert three-figure bearing to compass bearing. For example, change south 42 degrees east to three-figure bearing. So if you're asked to change this to three-figure bearing, you know the way it is in compass bearing. Compass bearing makes use of the cardinal points in representation of it. And again, the angles are acute angle because they will always be less than 90 degrees. Okay, now, since you have given this 42 degrees east of south, which is in the compass bearing, and you're asked to move this to three-figure bearing, just draw your cardinal points. Here is the North Pole, here is the South Pole, here is the West, and here is the East. And what are you giving? Southeast. And look at where you have the Southeast. The angle must be attached to South or attached to the North, as the case may be. The angles must be attached to the South or attached to the North, as the case may be. If such attachment is not done, it will give you an erroneous result. So what do we have here? 42 degrees. That is how to represent 42 degrees east of south. Now, if you want to convert it to three-figure bearing, just start from the North Pole, begin to turn until you touch this line that you've drawn. Once you touch that line, stop. Remember that these are 4 quadrants, and each of the quadrants is 90 degrees. So here is 90 degrees. Then here, look at this quadrant here. This quadrant again is 90 degrees. But I have taken out 42. Therefore, the remnant should be 48 degrees. How will you get 48? By taking away 42 from 90 degrees, you'll be having 48 degrees. Therefore, the equivalent of 42 degrees east of south will now be this 90 degrees plus this 48 degrees. And that will be 138 degrees in the three-figure bearing. So this and this are mathematically equivalent to each other. Now, supposing again you want to change, let's say 34 degrees, you have northwest. If I want to change 34 degrees west of south into the three-digit bearing, so I have to do this again. Remember, here is north, here is south, here is west, and here is east. I have northwest. Northwest is here. And what do we have? 34 degrees. It must be attached to the north. 34 degrees. It must be attached to the north. So the equivalence in three-figure bearing means starting from the north, you begin to turn until you touch this line you've drawn. You stop. Remember, each of the quadrant is 90 degrees. So here is 90 degrees, here is 90 degrees, here is 90 degrees. Then remember, this quadrant is 90, but we have taken away 34. So all you have to do is to remove 34 from 90 to be giving you around 56 degrees. Therefore, 34 degrees west of north should be equivalent to 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 56. 90 degrees plus 90 degrees plus 90 degrees plus 56 degrees. And 90 plus 90 is 180. 180 plus 90 is 270. 270 plus 56 should be 326 degrees. And that is the answer in the three-figure bearing. You can as well move three-figure bearings back to compass bearing. They are very simple. The same approach is maintained if you wish to move the three-figure bearing to compass bearing. It is still possible. So let's see. Supposing I want to move, convert 215 degrees to compass bearing. to compass bearing. 215 degrees to compass bearing. If you want to do that, the same method is obtainable. You have to draw your cardinal points. Remember, here is north, here is south, here is west, and here is east. Begin from the north pole and turn. If you count up to 215, you stop. From here to here is 90. Every quadrant is 90. From here to here is another 90, and 90 plus 90 will give us 180 degrees. Not yet complete. And if I venture to touch this particular line, is 270, which is more than 215. Therefore, the angle should be somewhere here. Now, this is 90, 90, 180. I've added 180. So if you want to know the remainder, take away 180 from this 215. It will be giving you around 35 degrees. So here is 35 degrees. That is what it will give you. And remember the rule. The angle that is attached to south or north becomes your answer. And what angle do we have here? Remember, 90 plus 90 plus 35 is 215. So since this 35 degrees is attached to the south and it is under southwest, so you have this as your answer. So the answer is 35 degrees west of south. That is the equivalent of this 215 degrees in three-figure bearing. Let's take another one still. Remember, this is just the basics I'm giving you to help you to understand the main thing when it comes to bearing. Supposing you have you're asked to convert 320 degrees to the compass bearing. As usual, you have to draw your cardinal points: north, west, south, and east. So this is 320 degrees. So you start counting 320 degrees. You turn from here to here is 90 degrees. From here to here is another 90 degrees, making it 180 degrees. From here to here is another 90 degrees, making it 270 degrees. And what we have is 320. So it must definitely enter the last quadrant. So 90, 90, 90 is 270 degrees. But what we need is 320. Therefore, remove 270 from 320 degrees. Here we'll be left with 50 degrees. But remember the rule. The angle you are taking must be that one that is attached to the south or attached to the north. And remember, this is a quadrant of 90 degrees. And having removed 50 from the quadrant, the angle attached to the north here will be 40 degrees, in such a way that 50 plus 40 will give you 90 degrees. Therefore, since 40 is attached, we'll have it as 40 degrees west of north. 40 degrees west of north. That is the equivalent in the compass bearing. So we shall take one more problem, then we go to the main thing. We shall take one more problem. Let's say you are asked to, maybe you are given 137 degrees to compass bearing. If you want to convert 137 degrees to compass bearing, what should it be? 137 degrees. So you can take a moment and try this question to see if you will get the answer correctly. So take a moment and try it. Let's see what you will get out of it. Remember, it is 137 degrees in the compass bearing. You can comment your answer in the comment box to be sure you got the right thing. So I'll go through them. 137. As usual, you draw your cardinal points. Having drawn the cardinal point, this is the north, the south, the west, and the east. Remember, it's 137. From here to here is 90 degrees. If I turn from here to here is 180. 180 is more than 137. Therefore, it should be somewhere here. And if I want to know what will be here, I will remove 90 from 137. That will be giving me 47 degrees. But the angle we need is this one, which is attached to the south. Remember, it must be attached to the south or attached to the north. And this is a quadrant. This is a quadrant of 90 degrees. So if I remove 47 from 90 degrees, I'll be having a 43 degrees. Therefore, and it's under the southeast. So I'll have it as 43 degrees east of south. And that is the answer. So you've seen a good way of moving one type of bearing to the other, the compass and the 3-digit bearing. They are the same thing, but their representation are different. So if you master both of them and relationship that exists between them. If a question comes up in bearing, it will be so easy for you to take the question up and get an excellent result. Okay, now look at this bearing problem. Bearing problems. So you might be asked, the bearing of A from B is 60 degrees. Find the bearing of B from A. The bearing of A from B is 60 degrees. Find the bearing of B from A. Solution. First of all, draw your cardinal point. The bearing, ask yourself, the bearing of A from B. From B means that the journey is starting from B. The bearing of A from B, the journey is starting from B. So here is the B. The bearing of A from B is 60 degrees. And 60 degrees is in the first quadrant. This is 60 degrees or 060 degrees. Remember, 60 degrees. Okay. Now, having known that here is 60 degrees, reason is that every quadrant is 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. So 60 is not up to 90, so it's in the first quadrant. So here is B. If you are tired of drawing the length of the line does not matter. If you are tired of drawing the length, you stop and put another cross, the cardinal point again, and label it A. The bearing of A from B is 60 degrees. Then the question now wants you to get the bearing of B from A. The bearing of B from A, if you want to calculate it, begin the journey from the North Pole. Move in a clockwise direction until you touch this line going to B. So begin from the North Pole and be turning until it touches this line going to B. You stop. Remember, every quadrant is 90 degrees. Here is 90 degrees. Here is 90 degrees. So what is this angle? There is what you call alternate angles. Angles on opposite side of a transversal line. So if here is 60, automatically here is 60 degrees, alternate angles. Therefore, the required bearing will be 90 plus 90 plus 60. 90 degrees plus 90 degrees plus 60 degrees. If you do that, you have 90 plus 90 is 180. 180 plus 60 will give you 240 degrees. So the answer is 240 degrees. You've now seen that the bearing of A from B will now be, the bearing of B from A will now be 240 degrees. So let's take another problem. So let's say number 2, the bearing of C from D is 190 degrees. Find the bearing of D from C. So try this and put down the answer in the comment box. Try to see if you can get it. Try to see if you can get it. The bearing of C from D is 190 degrees. Then find the bearing of D from C. Okay. To do that, solution. The bearing of C from D is 190 degrees. Find the bearing of D from C. This is 190 degrees, so you draw your cardinal point. Bearing of C from D, which means the journey is taking place from D. So I will label here D, and the angle is 190. From here to here is 90. From here to here is another 90. 90 plus 90 is 180. And 180 is not up to 190, which means it will enter this quadrant. And what angle will fall in here? Of course, it is 10. 90 plus 90 is 180 plus 10 will give us 190. So if you are tired of drawing this line, you stop and put the cardinal point again and label here C. So the bearing of C from D is this 190. And the question wants us to find the bearing of D from C. And remember, the required bearing is just from the North Pole, you turn until you touch this line going to D. And if here is 10, automatically here is 10 degrees. Alternate angles are equal. So the required bearing is just 10 degrees as the answer. Alternate angles, 10 degrees. Okay, let's take another one, which I will call number 3. I will change these to 310 degrees. I'll change it to 310 degrees. So let's see. It said the bearing of A from B is 310 degrees. Find the bearing of B from A. To do that, 310 degrees, I can have something like this. 310 from here to here is 90 degrees. Another 90 degrees making it 180. Another 90 degrees making it 270 because 90 alternate angles. Therefore, the required bearing is now 90 degrees plus. Okay, so take a look at this question. Okay, so there is a question here. A man travels on a bearing of 60 degrees from A to B, a distance of 4 kilometers. He then travels another 5 kilometers on a bearing of 130 degrees. Find his distance from his starting point. That is the problem at hand now. So how do you do that? So let's see. First of all, a man travels on a bearing of 60 degrees. That is the most important information here. A man travels on a bearing of 60 degrees, the most important information. So you can draw your cardinal point 60 degrees, 0, 60 degrees. So 0, 0 degrees. They say that the distance is 4 kilometers. So under here you write 4 kilometers. If you are tired of extending the line, you put your cardinal point traveling from A to B. We are told again that he then travels another 5 kilometers on a bearing of 130 degrees. 130 here is 90, and to make it 130 you need to add 40 because 90 plus 40 is equivalent to 130, and the distance is 5 kilometers to point C. So here is now C. To complete the triangle, you have to join. Remember, if here is 60 degrees, let me draw this well. If here is 60 degrees, automatically here is 60. Then this is a quadrant of 90 degrees, and this are taking 40. Therefore, here we'll be left with 50, because 40 plus 50 is 90. So that the total angle here will now be 110 degrees. And we are looking for this distance. They say the distance from his starting point. Look at where he started and look at where he is now. So the distance is x. So you have to draw a triangle like this. I'm just redrawing this. Where here is A, here is B, here is C, and here is 4 kilometers, here is 5 kilometers, while here is 110 degrees. So take a look at this question and use cosine rule to tackle it. Cosine rule can actually go a long way helping you to get the solution to this, because here is 110 degrees. Even if I don't call here x, remember that in any triangle, the side facing the capital letters are seen as the small letters. So if here is capital A, here is small a, capital B, small b, capital C, and the small c. So the distance from the starting point is this b here. So I can use cosine rule, because you use cosine rule when two sides and an included angle are given. Okay, so you see that b squared, the formula for cosine rule, is equal to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos b. So b squared will now be a, which is 5 squared plus c squared, which is 4, minus 2 times a, which is 5 times b, which is 4, then times cos 110 degrees. So b squared will now be 5 squared is 25 plus 4 squared is 16 minus 2 times 5 is 10, 10 times 4 is 40 times. So we look for cos 110 degrees. Cos 110 degrees will give us minus 0.3420. So b squared will now be 25 plus 16 will give us 41. Minus times minus is plus. So 40 times this positive value, 40 times 0.3420. That will give us 13.68. So you add up you shall get 44.68. So finally, you take square root, because this is b squared. Square root of 44.68. So square root of 44.68. That will give us 6.68 kilometers. This is just the answer. His distance from the starting point is now 6.68 kilometers. So let's take more problems. Kindly write this down so that we can bring up another problem to see if we'll be able to get it correctly. So I'm cleaning here to bring up another problem of the same kind. Now, supposing a man travels now on a bearing of, let's change the bearing to, let's say, 130 degrees, a distance of 7 kilometers now. 130 degrees, a distance of 7 kilometers. And again, let's change this to 10 kilometers and change this to 250 degrees and see what the solution will be. So I'm cleaning here. So let's see if this is solvable. The question says that a man travels on a bearing of 130 degrees from A to B, a distance of 7 kilometers. He then travels another 10 kilometers on a bearing of 250 degrees. Find his distance from his starting point. So the bearing here is 130 degrees. So let's assume we have our cross here, the cardinal point, traveling from A. So here is just A. The bearing is 130. From here to here is 130, because here is 90 degrees. And if I add 40 degrees to 90 degrees, it will give me 130 degrees. So if you're tired of drawing the line, you put another cardinal point. And remember, we are told that the distance is 7 kilometers. He then travels another 250 kilometers. Another 250. 250, here is 90. Here is another 90, making it 180. So for it to be 250, you need like another 70, because another, yes, 90 plus 90 is 180, and 180 plus 70 will give you 250 degrees. And we are told that the distance is 10 kilometers from A to B, then from B to C. You put another cardinal point, this is C. You can now join together. Remember, if here is 40, automatically here will be 40 degrees, because alternate angles are equal. And this is a quadrant of 90 degrees, and here has taken 70. So the leftover here will be 20, because 20 plus 70 is 90. So that the total angle here will be 40 plus 20, which is 60 degrees. So let us draw the triangle out here. The triangle will look like this. Something like this, where here is C, here is A, here is B, and the angle here is 60 degrees. Here is 7 kilometers, here is 10 kilometers. So look at the triangle here, I've drawn it there clearly. And this is capital B, the side facing A is small a, side facing C is small c. So capital B small b, capital A small a, capital C small c. So we are looking for B, because they said, what is distance from the starting point? He started here, this is the starting point, and look at where he is. So his distance for the starting point is just this length here. And since it is B, use the formula again. B squared is A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cos B. So plug it and try if you can get the answer correctly. So try it and see if the answer can come correctly. So here, B squared will now be A. A is 10, so you have 10 squared plus C, which is 7 squared minus 2 times A. A is 10 times C, which is 7, then times cos B, which is 60 degrees. So B squared will now be 10 squared is 100 plus 7 squared is 49 minus 2 times 10 is 20. 20 by 7 is 140 times cos 60 is around 0.5. You can verify cos 60 is 0.5. Cos 60 0.5. So b squared, remember 100 plus 49 is 149. 140 times 0.5 is 70. And when you subtract, you shall be getting 79. 140 minus 149 minus 70 is 79. So I'll clean here. If you want to get b, you now take the square root of both sides. So take the square root of both sides. So b will now be square root of 79. And when you find the square root of 79, it shall give you 8.89 kilometers as the answer. And this is just a beautiful way to tackle bearing. So by tomorrow, I will go live again to complete the series of videos I have for bearing, because this is just the introduction. So by that tomorrow, I shall be discussing more difficult and advanced questions. If you are new here, kindly consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Just click on the subscribe action. It is free. It will only notify you whenever I upload a new video. And kindly share this to your learned colleagues and your fellow students and teachers, so that together mass phobia will be ended. Thank you so much, and may God bless you for viewing.